It's time for Brewers baseball once again tonight, and we are in the home of the Detroit Tigers. Comerica Park in downtown Detroit. The Brew Crew and the American League Tigers ready to go at it for Game 2 of this series. And last night, the Brewers played a beautiful ball game. Got a home run from Aramis Ramirez to tie it. Carlos Gomez also homered last night and drove in the winning run as the Brewers took down the Tigers in the first game of this three-game series. Gomez, always ready to entertain. Hi, everybody. Yep, they're dancing here. They had a nice night last night, hoping to do the same tonight. And rock the Brewers, when you start to look at the way this team was put together, what happened last night, they're starting to put stakes down that there is hope. They can play the kind of game they're expecting.
Yeah, and the bullpen was supposed to be one of the strengths, and last night it certainly was. Craig Counsell finally got the bullpen out there in a winning scenario, and they did a heck of a job. 6th, 7th, and 8th inning all ended in strikeouts with runners in scoring position. Jeremy Jeffress, Jonathan Broxton. How about Broxton with men on base? Couple of men on. He got his pitches up to 98 miles an hour. We haven't seen that all season from Broxton. He had a little bit of edge last night, and K-Rod, the double play to end it. That's exactly the way that bullpen is supposed to respond in a one-run game. But all started with a good start by Mike Fiers, so things worked out very well. The Brewers played a very good game and beat a very good ball club.
Now, one of the best offensive lineups in all of baseball, the Detroit Tigers. So now you turn the page to tonight for Game 2. Jimmy Nelson will get the start for Milwaukee. And for more on the Jimmy Nelson story, we check in with our reporter tonight, Sophia Minner. Good afternoon, Sophia.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, Jimmy Nelson looks to follow what Mike Fiers was able to do last night to limit this potent Tigers offense to just 2 runs. Fiers did it over 5 2/3 last night. For Jimmy Nelson, he's looking to get back to the form of his first win of the season, which was his first start. Now you see what he's been able to do. His first 5 starts, that 1-2 record, just 1 home run allowed, but over his last 2 starts, you see the home run bug has bitten Jimmy Nelson. 5 allowed. You see the increase there in his ERA. And again, he has not won since his first start of the season. So for manager Craig Counsell, he said when it comes to Nelson facing this Tigers lineup, it's about executing pitches because the Tigers are so good with their 2-strike approach.
I think what was just from one night for me, what was impressive was just the quality of that bats, just the 2-strike at bats where it was just foul ball, good pitch, foul ball, good pitch, foul ball. And that's often the difference in your at bat is can the pitcher makes his pitch with 2 strikes and you hit a foul ball. And you fouled off his best pitch. He's gonna make some kind of a mistake or get a better pitch to hit. And I thought last night, although they did a good job of kind of fouling up, Mike made some really good pitches, and they fouled him off and made him make another good pitch and made him make another good pitch. And Mike did a good job of it last night. But that's challenging for the pitcher when you got to do that pitch after pitch.
The Tigers will be without their designated hitter, Victor Martinez. He was placed on this disabled list earlier today with knee inflammation. They bring up Tyler Collins, but Miguel Cabrera, he's still in the heart of that Tigers lineup. Jimmy Nelson is getting ready to face this Tigers lineup. He will oppose Anibal Sanchez for the Tigers. We've got first pitch coming up for you. Jimmy Nelson looking for his 2nd win of the season, and the Brewers going for the series win here at Comerica Park.
Just when we thought summer had arrived yesterday, we were in the mid-80s. It has cooled off significantly here at Comerica Park in Detroit. Temperatures in the low 50s. Brewers baseball tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Second game of this three-game series. Brewers continue the road trip. This is game 5 of the road trip. Brewers are headed to Atlanta after tomorrow's game, and they'll have a 4-game series with the Braves. 10 days in all. First road trip in the managerial campaign of Craig Counsell. And so far, Counsell is 7-7 in his first trip as a big league manager, coming down from the front office to take over as the skipper. Counsell puts this lineup together tonight. It's brought to you by Potawatomi. Carlos Gomez leads off, had a lead-off home run last night. Then Gerardo Parra, followed by the designated hitter tonight, Ryan Braun. Middle of the order is Adam Lind, Aramis Ramirez, and Chris Davis. Luis Sardinas makes his 4th consecutive start. Hector Gomez at second, and Martin Maldonado will round out the Brewers' 9. And one of the best right-handers around previously, not so much this year, Anibal Sanchez on the mound for the Tigers.
But he's coming off a pretty good start against the Twins. 8 innings, 1 run, 9 strikeouts, and a victory. He's won 2 of his last 3. 31 years old, 4th season with the Detroit Tigers after spending a lot of years with the Marlins.
Now once through a no-hitter with the Marlins. His first pitch, Gomez swings away, and we are underway from Comerica. Interleague baseball tonight for the Brew Crew and the Detroit Tigers. Last night it was Aramis Ramirez who was in the designated hitter role. Tonight it is Ryan Braun, which allows Gerardo Parra back in the lineup. That's a hot bat that Counsell was anxious to get in there. Gomez had a big night last night. So impressive that he was even able to be in the lineup last night after getting hit in the head on Sunday in New York by a Noah Syndergaard fastball at 97 miles an hour. There was a scare, possible concussion, but Gomez came through it well and then was in the lineup last night, delivered with a leadoff homer, and then delivered in the 7th with a go-ahead RBI, and the Brewers won 3-2 last night.
Yeah, one of the better played games that the Brewers had last night. They had to beat a very good Detroit Tiger ball club.
And a called strike 3. Gomez is out. Anibal Sanchez's night begins with a backwards K.
Well, let's check out the Menards Tigers defense. You got Cespedes, Ghost, and Martinez. Pretty good outfield for the Tigers. Pretty good throwing arms. Castellanos, Iglesias, you got Kinsler and Cabrera from 3rd to 1st, and Brian Holiday behind home plate.
Very good defensive team, the Tigers. Second fewest errors to the Royals. Trip Gibson is the home plate umpire. The crew chief is over at first base today, Brian Gorman. Mark Carlson, Mike DeMuro round out the 4-man umpiring crew. As Gerardo Parra takes a ball. Parra coming in red hot. He's hitting .308 for the year. The 2 homers and 12 of the 14 RBIs have come in a stretch of 19 games. And he's hitting over .400 in that stretch.
He got yesterday off because the left-hander Lobstein was on the mound for the Tigers. Chris Davis getting a start. You can see what he's been able to do. That's why Craig Counsell feels as though he needs to keep him in the lineup.
He's had a great month of May after a sluggish start in April, and he's found his name in the lineup card quite a bit. Been a little bit of a platoon with Chris Davis in left field, even though Counsell's not ready to call it a platoon. He's just riding the hot hand. And Parra draws the walk. So Sanchez, who comes out with a strikeout to Gomez, walks Parra and will now deal with Ryan Braun.
Sanchez has had some control problems this year. Not his last start, though. Only walked 1, striking out 9, 111 pitches through 8 strong innings. But the start before, he walked 5, or I should say 3. 3 batters, a control pitcher that can rush it up there when he has to in the mid-90s. Throws all 4. Fastball, curveball, slider. And he'll throw a changeup from time to time.
Here's Ryan Braun with a man on and one away. And he swings at the first pitch. Chance for a double play. Iglesias to Kinsler to Cabrera. Just like that, Anibal Sanchez is out of the first. Off and running in Detroit. Tigers are coming up. Jimmy Nelson on the mound. Is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers. It's Miller time. Brad Ausmus, skipper of the Detroit Tigers in his second season. Took the Tigers to a division title last year and into the postseason. They were swept by the Orioles in the division series. Tigers show up today in second place in the Central Division of the American League. Kansas City Royals have taken over first, game and a half ahead of Detroit. Jimmy Nelson on the mound to face the Tigers today. First ball swinging, Anthony Gose, and Sardinas will put him away. One pitch and one out. Let's give you the rest of the Tigers batting order, courtesy of Potawatomi. Kinsler follows Gose, then Miguel Cabrera. He's off to another great start. J.D. Martinez, Yoenis Cespedes, Tyler Collins in the lineup today. Collins is the DH. Nick Castellanos, Brian Holiday, and Jose Iglesias. Detroit putting Victor Martinez on the disabled list today with a knee injury. And he looked to be hobbled last night, especially after he was doubled up last night in a key situation. And the Tigers go ahead and disable Victor Martinez, and they bring up Tyler Collins, who they like a lot. He's a tough at-bat. Feel like he can be a very good hitter in the big leagues. He's in there as the designated hitter.
Yeah, that left knee for Victor Martinez really giving a lot of problems at the plate and running the bases. Just hobbling down the line.
So Nelson will not face a couple of the big left-handed bats. Martinez is a switch hitter, but would hit lefty against Jimmy Nelson, and that means no Alex Avila. Their starting catcher, who's on the disabled list with a knee injury, and now Victor Martinez. A bit of a break for the heavy-hitting Tigers. And a lineup that has a lot more speed this year. They're running a great deal this season, have more stolen base threats than in years past. Kinsler is one of them.
Yeah, Tigers second in the league in stolen bases in the American League. A right-hand dominant lineup. I mean, a lot of right-handers. I mean, right now the only guy that can hit left-handed is Romine. He's on the bench. He's a switch hitter.
3 balls and a strike. Nelson delivers, and it's popped up foul back in the seats. Well, the Tigers, year in, year out, during this particular era, they've won 4 consecutive American League Central Division titles, but they have been one of the great offensive teams in the big leagues. And now that they've added a few more layers of speed and the element of the stolen base, they were able to manufacture a couple of runs early in the game last night. 3-2, and Nelson misses, and that's a no-no with Miguel Cabrera coming up.
Well, let's check out the Menards Brewers defense. You got Parra, Gomez, and Braun, or I should say, out in the right field. You've got Parra out there. I'll get it right. Ramirez, Sardinas, Gomez, and Lynn from third to first, and Maldonado behind home plate.
We're grading you on a curve tonight,
Yeah,
Rob, so
I keep forgetting about the DH. I gotta be a little bit more in tune with the DH.
Throwing you off a little bit.
I see Braun in the lineup. I put him in right field.
Yeah, Braun, the designated hitter tonight. Parra and Davis sharing the same outfield, which is rare, as Cabrera takes a strike.
And still another different lineup thrown out there by the Brewers. 39 different lineups now in 40 games.
Only duplicate lineups for the Brewers was prior to Craig Counsell taking over. Second and third day of the season against the Colorado Rockies. Every other day it's been a different starting lineup.
We're trying to mix and match, trying to find some healthy bodies. And hey, look at that lineup that the Brewers had out there last night. Only 3 guys out there that started on opening day.
The kind of lineup that would get you fined in spring training.
Right.
Not enough major leaguers, but they played well. It was an inspired performance last night in a 3-2 win. Cabrera sends one to right. That one got in on his hands a little bit, and Parra, the Gold Glover, makes the play. Cabrera is out number 2. Well, walk us through Jimmy Nelson, Rock. What have you seen from him this season?
Well, he had a pretty good start his last time out. After the first inning, he gave up 3 runs in the first against the White Sox. Gave up a couple of home runs, but all of a sudden he's throwing that slider much better. Gave up 4 runs overall in that start. He's lost 4 consecutive decisions, but he's been on the attack. Hasn't been walking a lot of guys. You know, a lot less hits than innings pitched. That's a good indication that he's been very aggressive in that strike zone.
Facing J.D. Martinez with a runner at first and 2 outs, just underway from Detroit. Great to have you with us tonight.
Well, the slider all of a sudden is back for Jimmy Nelson. Didn't have it for a while, but ever since he started throwing that curveball, he's developed that slider again. That slider that he had in the beginning of the season last year down in the minor leagues. The Brewers have been waiting for that pitch to resurrect itself again.
Well, Nelson last year was the Brewers minor league pitcher of the year. And this will be a good test for him tonight with the Tigers' heavy hitters. And he has not faced any of these Tiger batters. So advantage to Jimmy Nelson to start this game. Be curious to see how the Tigers adjust. Obviously, there's a lot of videotape on Nelson, but he can be a pretty imposing figure out there. He stands 6'6", and he has a fastball in the mid-90s. He's developed that curveball. That's been a significant pitch for him. So he's got all the tools necessary to emerge as a potential ace in a rotation. And the Brewers are hoping that that development continues here in the major leagues. And then you can look at Peralta and Jimmy Nelson as 2 of your top guys in your rotation for a number of years.
And both of them throw hard with good sliders.
J.D. Martinez with a 9-game hitting streak currently. He's got 8 home runs, 17 driven in for Detroit. A dangerous bat in their lineup. Speaking of guys who have developed at the major leagues, nobody saw that coming.
No.
The year he had last year.
Yeah, not the way he was swinging the bat with the Astros.
Started the year in the minor leagues. He came up and instantly was a factor. Kinsler takes off from his knees. Maldonado's throw goes into center field. So a stolen base and a throwing error. And Kinsler ends up at third with 2 away.
And not sure if Maldonado should have even bothered especially on his knees. Throw sailed on him and stolen base and an error. All these throws lately have been a bit erratic. The pitch, the curveball in the dirt, picked it nicely, but I think even a good throw, he's not going to be able to get him. And Kinsler cruises into third base.
He did a great job just to catch the pitch in the dirt, but affords the Tigers an extra base. 2-1 the count. Martinez in the center field, and just like that, the Tigers are on the board. JD Martinez with an RBI single, and it's 1-0 Detroit.
Yep, got behind in the count, threw the fastball pretty straight, and Martinez hammers it out there into the outfield. Check it out. Supposed to be in. Look where it ends up. Right down the middle, and JD Martinez drives in the first run for Detroit. Tonight's game starting very similar to last night for the Tigers, picking up an early run.
Yeah, the Tigers were off and running last night. Had stolen bases the first couple of innings. Scored in each of the first 2 innings. Low scoring affair last night. Had some rain. But the Brewers got great work out of their bullpen, as Rock mentioned in the open. Fires did a good job, but he had a high pitch count, and this lineup will do that to a starting pitcher. And then Jeffers came on in the 6th, finished off that inning. Broxton pitched very well in the 8th, and then K-Rod closed the door in the 9th. Swing and a miss by Cespedes.
Yeah, Broxton didn't get it going until he had a couple of men on, nobody out. Then he started rearing back, reaching back, and he was able to catch 98 miles an hour. I hadn't seen that in a while. Good game last night.
Cespedes was the last hitter of the game. Bounced into a 6-4-3 double play, one of 3 double plays the Brewers turned last night. Cespedes didn't start. That was in a pinch hit appearance. And Ausmus wanting to just give him a day off. He's been dealing with an injury to the hand. Not significant, just a nagging injury. So Ausmus feeling like a day off would do him some good, and figured he'd be back in the lineup tonight. He's played in all but 1 game this year.
There aren't a lot of moving pieces in this Detroit Tiger lineup. I mean, these guys are out there just about every day. Unlike what the Brewers have been dealing with.
Cespedes, a big offseason acquisition for Detroit. He was traded from the A's to the Red Sox last year. He was part of that John Lester deal. And then the Red Sox turned him around, flipped him to the Tigers. And another big bat in this lineup. One ball, 2 strikes. Nelson to Cespedes, low for ball 2. Cespedes with the 19 extra base hits, second only to Nelson Cruz, who has 15 homers.
Yeah, how about him?
For the Mariners this year. Cespedes is currently second in the league in doubles. Of those 19 extra base hits, he has 13 doubles and 5 homers. Swing and a miss. Nelson strikes him out, went with a slider, and the inning is over, but the Tigers score on an RBI from Martinez. in the Motor City, and a very cool night tonight. Good night to be a pitcher in a game like this. Tigers score in the first inning. Kinsler, who walked, stole second, reached third on an error, scores on a J.D. Martinez single. And now the Brewers will play from behind. Adam Lind will lead off. He'll be followed by Ramirez. And then Chris Davis. Anibal Sanchez giving up a walk in the first to Parra. Got Braun to bounce into a double play. 6 homers, 18 ribbies for Lind, hitting it a .290 clip. He's got an on-base percentage of .386.
Yeah, he and Darnell Coles before this series started were, they were tweaking his mechanics a little bit. Talking to Darnell about, Lind around the batting cage, saying that there was a stretch where Lind was kind of picking up that front foot and moving a little bit toward home plate, kind of getting himself in a position where he was getting jammed a lot. Now he's just picking it up and setting it down a little bit like he was early in the season. See the way that foot's really not moving at all toward home plate.
Lind strikes out. Anibal Sanchez with his second K. There's Darnell Coles, who spent time here last year as the assistant hitting coach of the Tigers. Well, Aramis Ramirez is in our spotlight, our T-Mobile game changer. His last 4 games has 5 hits. Remember, he had been out of the lineup for 6 consecutive days with a back injury, lower back. Swings to the first pitch, backhanded. Iglesias sets his feet, long throw, and it's picked by Cabrera. Ramirez is out.
And that's a tough hop for Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera has not committed an error this year, and it's giving you a sense of why the Tigers have the best defensive team in the American League. Yeah, Cabrera able to pick up his shortstop. That was an in-between hop, and that's not an easy play. And made it look easy. The long hop, that's easy. The short hop is easy, but that in-between can be tough.
Cabrera showing great hands to pick that one up. Iglesias has done a terrific job for the Tigers. They have had a bit of a revolving door at the shortstop position as Davis takes a strike. And here's Iglesias, who has anchored down the position, a most important defensive position, and yet he enters play today, Rock, is the American League leader in batting average. So they're getting some offense out of him as well.
And he's only committed 3 errors.
Davis lines one right to Cespedes. And that is a quick inning, 7 pitches. The Brewers go in order in the second.
Potawatomi Hotel and Casino, the Tigers with a 1-0 lead, and with Scooter Gennett being sent down to AAA Colorado Springs before this series began. Hector Gomez gets the start at second base tonight, and manager Craig Counsell said it will just be a daily decision between who gets that start at second base between Hector Gomez and Elian Herrera. He said they both have their individual pluses. Elian Herrera, a switch hitter, that's a big plus for him. He said Hector Gomez is a great defender. His biggest asset is probably his arm, his tremendous throwing arm. He's considered both of them for the outfield as well. So he said they've both shown that they have extra base hit potential, that they can drive the ball. He said bottom line, they're both very versatile. And he says more importantly than that, he's confident that they're going to make the right play. So he said it's just going to be a daily decision whether who gets that start at second base.
All right, Sophia, thanks. A base hit to start the inning for Tyler Collins, who just arrived to Detroit from AAA Toledo today. And he singles his first time up. And back to Sophia's point about second base and any other infield position, especially up the middle for the Brewers, Rock, the opportunity is available. The door is wide open. And for guys like Hector Gomez and Sardinas, while Gennett is in AAA and while Segura's on the disabled list, I mean, this is a golden opportunity to prove you belong in the big leagues.
Right, and Hector Gomez with a great opportunity. Got a double in yesterday's ball game, and I don't think there's any middle infielder in baseball with a better arm. I mean, just you go look back at that double play that Victor Martinez rolled into last night. I mean, that throw that he made over to first base was a rocket. He could play short, he could play second, he could throw him over at third base. A lot of versatility, but you're right. I mean, with injury or lack of production comes opportunity for others.
Nick Castellanos sat the plate with a man on. That one's into right, and Parra will settle under it. First out of the inning for Jimmy Nelson. Tigers scored in the first. Got a run on an RBI single from J.D. Martinez. Here's Brian Holliday, Detroit's catcher. Tigers are without Alex Avila still. He's been their starter. He's an excellent game caller. Terrific behind the plate and a good hitter, good left-handed hitter. Had a little power. He's out with a knee injury, so there goes the runner. Swing and a bouncer to short. Sardinas will flip it across the diamond for the out. So by putting the runner in motion, the Tigers stay out of a double play. But there are two outs now with Collins in second base.
Yeah, they like to run, don't they? And think about it, a couple of years ago, the Tigers only had 35 stolen bases as a team. Everybody running these days. And because of that, taking off, they stay out of the double play. They rolled into 3 double plays last night.
Well, I know Dave Dombrowski, the general manager, and Brad Ausmus, the skipper, trying to get this roster where it does have some more weapons in the lineup outside of the power weapons that they have, and they are significant with Victor Martinez and Cabrera and Cespedes this year. Kinsler's a power bat, even though he hasn't homered this season. But you start to add some layers to your team, and when you're in a hitting slump and when you're in a bit of a power outage, Tigers feel like they can win now without hitting a ton of home runs. They're still going to get their hits, but they're putting a lot of pressure on the opponent's defense with this kind of lineup.
I think it really comes into play in the postseason. I mean, when you're facing good postseason pitching, I mean, you can't rely on the big home runs all the time. You have to figure out other ways to score runs, and stealing bases, taking extra bases is the way you win in the postseason.
That's a great point, and that's what happened to him last year. The Tigers, in Ausmus's first year as a manager taking the Tigers to the postseason, they ran into a red-hot Baltimore Orioles team who pitched the lights out in a 3-game series. They beat all 3 of the Tigers' aces in that series. Verlander, Scherzer, Price. And they swept him, knocked him right out of the postseason when most felt that the Tigers had a chance to win the World Series last year. But they were station to station in the postseason last season. Just could not get it going. Iglesias, the American League's leading hitter, draws the walk. Second walk given up by Jimmy.
Hey, back by popular demand, Zuba Palooza returns to Miller Park Friday, June 12th. Against the Nationals, fans who purchase this special ticket package will get a pair of green and blue Zubaz pants featuring the Brewers 90s logo. For tickets, visit brewers.com/special events.
Well, a couple of walks for Jimmy Nelson. The first inning walk turned into a run for the Tigers. Back to the top of the order, Anthony Gose. Tigers address their deficiencies in center field and at shortstop. They knew they were going to get Iglesias back. He was hurt last year, had stress fractures in both shins last year, so they were pretty content about the shortstop position, and he's turned out to be a terrific player to start the year. Center field's been a little different story, though. And Ausmus right now has a platoon going in center with Gose and Rajai Davis.
Yeah, one of the few left-handed hitters in this lineup, well, including Collins. There's two, Collins and Gose. They've got one switch hitter on the bench.
Gose had a hit last night. He was 1 for 4, but he struck out a couple of times as well. And like Iglesias, in supporting roles in the lineup, these two guys are really swinging it well. Gose is hitting .336 coming into play today. Strike 2. A lot of managers don't like to put a platoon in the leadoff spot in the batting order. A lot of times your platoon players are hitting in the bottom third of the order. That's not the case in the Ausmus lineup. And a breaking ball missed. Jimmy Nelson was headed to the dugout. He thought he had a called strike 3.
Yeah, he thought it was strike 3, and so did Maldonado. Trip Gibson, the home plate umpire, didn't think so. Well, that just misses the knees right there. Of course, Fox Tracks has it on the plate.
Those are the kind of calls you want to get if you're a pitcher, especially against this lineup. 2-2 on the way. Another one misses again. It's got to be a little bit of a concern, right, Rock, that the Tigers, they're not swinging at that curveball. And they're picking it up. Makes you wonder a little bit if they've picked something up in his delivery or if they're seeing it before he lets it go. There's been a couple of really good curveballs that the Tigers have taken.
Well, good hitters are going to take those pitches. I mean, they're not hitting over 300 for nothing. I mean, these guys pick up rotation. They can identify pitches very early. That's why they walk a lot.
3-2, runners go, and a fastball right by Gose. So Nelson racking up some pitches early, gets through the second with a 0 on the board. Shortstop Luis Sardinas. He's in a play that is worth another look, courtesy of Columbia St. Mary's, and it's worth another look to check out some of his offense. The switch hitter had 3 hits in the Mets series in 2 days, and then showed up here yesterday. First time he hit right-handed, and had another hit in yesterday's game. So Rocky continues to play his 4th consecutive start, and he showed very well here in the big leagues.
And again, I mean, from spring training until now, it's a big difference between Sardinas now and then. I mean, he hit 288 in the minor leagues before his call up, and looks much more comfortable at the plate, and his swing has been pretty consistent, both right-handed and left-handed.
An excellent defensive shortstop, hails from Venezuela. They're excited to be in the big leagues with the Brewers. Brewers got him in a trade. He was in the Giovanni Gallardo deal. 2/3 of the players that were acquired by the Brewers are here in the big leagues now. Sardinas and Corey Knebel. That was the transaction prior to yesterday's game that Sophia referenced. Brewers sent Scooter Gennett to AAA, trying to get his bat going again. And instead of bringing up a position player, Rock, they brought up a reliever in Knebel, who pitched for the Tigers last year. So they've added a pitcher, and they're playing a man short on the position player side of things.
Yeah, you can get away with that a little bit easier, when you're in the American League ballpark and you have the DH. You don't need as many pinch hitters. You're not going to be pinch hitting for the pitcher. Remains to be seen what the Brewers are going to do when they leave Detroit.
Now back in the National League setting against Atlanta Thursday. Sardinas rolls over one to Kinsler. One former Ranger to another. And one away. Anibal Sanchez has faced the minimum thus far. His only blemish was a walk to Parra in the first inning, but he immediately got a double play ball off the bat of Braun. Here's Hector Gomez. Hector comes in with 1 homer. That was off Clayton Kershaw, his first big league homer. He's driven in 6. As Rock mentioned, had a double last night. Hector had his family in New York. They live in the Bronx. His dad, his uncle, brother. It's a thrill for him to go back home. He's originally from the Dominican Republic, but ties to New York now with family members living there. And to be able to go back as a big league player, to play at Citi Field against the Mets, have his family in the stands each and every night, that was a real thrill for him. He's a fun-loving guy. He's a lot like Carlos Gomez. I don't know what's in the Gomez blood, but
yeah, he's a good kid. He really is.
And he rips that one into left field. Got some heat on it. Thinking about 2. He's on his way. Cespedes has a cannon, and Gomez in there with a hustle double.
He takes a mighty hack. He got a slider from Sanchez that was up in the zone, and he just ripped it into the hole there. I mean, he can run too. He's a big man, about 6'3". Check it out. And Gomez able to get good one on. That was actually a changeup that he hit. And rips it, and Cespedes, as you mentioned, one of the best arms in all of baseball, not able to get him.
He put it right on the money. Gomez legs it out. Hustle double with 1 out. First hit of the game for the Brewers. Here's Martin Maldonado. Boy, it's fun watching Hector run at 6'3" when he gets going. It reminds me a little bit of Corey Hart back in his early days with the Brewers. Those long strides.
It's good to know that you have a guy that you can fill in that can take a hack like that. He's got a terrific arm, good range, and he's been getting his hits.
And Maldonado into left center field, hit pretty deep. Goes on the way back, and he's got it. Gomez will tag, and Hector will end up at third. Well, Maldonado gave that one a ride.
Yeah, just missed it, got under it, hit it well.
Wrong ballpark, maybe the wrong night. Although the wind is blowing out, it is very cool here tonight.
That wind blowing out, looked like a cutter. And got Maldonado just a little bit on the end, and that's all it took to keep it in the ballpark. Wind's blowing pretty strong out to center field.
So Hector Gomez ends up at third base. 2 men are out. Back to the top of the order for Carlos Gomez. He drove in a run with 2 outs in the 7th inning last night that broke a 2-2 tie. Carlos struck out his first time up. A called strike 3 on Carlos Gomez. Hit his 4th homer of the year last night. It was a leadoff home run. 8th of his career. Shows bunt, gets it down, tough play, barehanded, the flip to the plate, not there. And they're telling Gomez to go to second. He couldn't quite figure out what was happening, so he retreats to first. Had an opportunity there to take an extra base, but Hector scores on the bunt single by Carlos as the Brewers take a page out of the Tigers book from yesterday.
Yeah, Tigers did that yesterday. The catcher with 2 outs, McCann, dropped one down. This is a pretty good idea by their third baseman, Castellanos. I mean, there's no way he's going to get Gomez. The only chance was to play at the plate, but Hector a little bit too fast. Ball went to the screen, but Gomez had no idea that there wasn't going to be a throw to first.
He was so focused on trying to beat a throw, it almost startled him, and he didn't quite understand what Mike Guerrero was telling him. He could have easily made it to second. Here's Parra, gets a changeup that he's out in front of.
That's just good baseball by Carlos Gomez, and all started, with Hector Gomez tagging up on that fly ball. Get himself to third base and able to score on the bunt.
All tied at 1, answers the Tigers' first inning run. Parra walked in the first. There goes Carlos. Pitch is in the dirt. No throw from the catcher Holiday, and Gomez ends up at second base anyway. And a little spice on the pop-up slide just for the fun of it.
Well, he had a good jump, he had a good lead, and there's no chance for Holiday to throw him out with a pitch in the dirt.
I know he drives opponents crazy with that, but it's so entertaining. Everything he does is entertaining. He's totally into it. He's into every inch of the game.
And it's all legitimate. He's not trying to show anybody up. He's just having a good time.
Yep. I'm all for it.
But regardless of that, I mean, he does kind of irritate the opponent from time to time.
Well, he's in scoring position for Parra. Gerardo showed good patience in his first at-bat. Sanchez, knowing Parra is typically an aggressive hitter, was nibbling around the strike zone, and Parra was content to take a walk. Got it in a 3-1 count here, and he misses again. So back-to-back walks for Parra in his 2 plate appearances. And the inning is alive here with 2 on and 2 out for Ryan Braun.
Interesting that Sanchez is unwilling to throw one down the middle to Gerardo Parra to bring up Ryan Braun. Braun's got good numbers against Sanchez before tonight, 3 for 7. But back-to-back walks to Parra and bringing up Braun with a man in scoring position.
Sanchez will get a visit from his pitching coach, Jeff Jones. I think Parra just flipped the script on him a little bit. He's got a book as an aggressive early count swinger. Sanchez threw him a changeup on the first pitch. He got a swing and a miss, and then Parra was patient. I'll check the home run leaderboard courtesy of Powerball. Ryan Braun is the club leader with 8.
You think the fact that Parra is 8 for 14 against Sanchez has anything to do with that?
He's got the most experience against Anibal Sanchez. I'm sure he did a little video work looking at his prior at-bats in his career on Sanchez and turned the tables on him a little bit. So here we are with 2 on and Braun at the plate. Brewers have tied it here in the 3rd on a bunt single by Carlos Gomez to drive in Hector Gomez.
Sanchez's cruising speed about 92, 93, but he can reach back, according to Darnell Coles, and give him 95 when he needs it. I would imagine this would be an opportunity for Sanchez to reach back a little bit with Braun at the plate.
Pitchers with velocity have been attacking Braun with that fastball. That's a breaking ball in the dirt. Nice play back there by Brian Holiday. Textbook blocking mechanics right there. Look at that, right in front.
And squares up his shoulders to keep it close. Yeah, that was a slider that he was able to keep in front of him that time.
He's got the little fluorescent stickers on his fingernails. Helps the pitcher see the signals. They work. Braun into right field, pretty well hit. On the run is Martinez. That ball is back, and it is gone. A home run for Braun off the foul pole. 3-run shot. Just like that, the Brewers are on top.
Well, you walk Gerardo Parra to get the Braun, you're going to pay for it from time to time. And Ryan Braun got a fastball up and away and drove it off of that foul pole and right. Brawny's been hitting some home runs as of late. There's a big one right there, a 3-run shot. Trying to get him with a slider. Here comes a fastball, and it was up, and Braun able to center on it and knock it off the foul pole down there in right field. Well, most of his home runs have come to the opposite field. And there's a big one.
Boy, it had that sound, didn't it? The only question was it going to stay fair or not? Braun barreled it up and hits it a long way down the right field line. 5 of his home runs this year, of his 9, have come to right field. Adam Lind, the big swing and a miss. It's still one of the elements that separates Ryan Braun from a lot of the average Joe hitters in the big leagues, is the fact that, like Cabrera and like a lot of other power hitters, he can go out pole to pole, line to line power for Ryan Braun, and he doesn't even have to get a strike to do that.
Yep, and like most good hitters, pitchers try to work him inside, but it's just a fine line between a good pitch on the inside corner and a bad one. You either miss off the plate, you leave one out over the plate. Only one of his home runs this year have come to left field. Center field around the right. Good hitters do that.
What an inning for the Brewers. All 4 runs coming in here with 2 outs. Adam Lind takes a ball just off the plate. He's not missing by much, Rock, but it's just enough that the Brewers aren't chasing. That walk by Parra was key in this inning. And now Lind sends one deep. That is way back in right. Goodbye, Adam Lind with a solo shot. 5-1 Brew Crew as Lind hits his 7th home run of the season.
I think he hit a changeup out of the ballpark. And Adam Lind, who struck out his first time up, able to wait back and knock that one out of here to right. Good to see the smiles in that Brewers dugout. They have been few and far between so far this year. And it was a changeup. It was up, it was middle in, and Lind able to knock it out of here. So a 5-run third for the Brew Crew.
And all 5 coming with 2 outs in the inning as Sanchez deals a strike to Ramirez. It was a 1-out double by Hector Gomez. And then Carlos bunted Hector home, a bunt base hit with 2 away. And then a walk, 3-run homer, solo homer. Digging an inning out of the dirt.
All started by Hector Gomez. Who'd have thought, right?
That ball's hammered way back left field. And the Brewers go back to back to back. Braun, Lind, Ramirez. 6-1 Brew Crew.
Now Anibal Sanchez came in having given up 6 home runs, and the Brewers with 3 of them in this inning. And none of them of the cheap variety. That was a blast by Ramirez. Maybe he should take a week off more often. Wow. Not too often a guy takes a week off and comes back like this. That was a hanging curveball, and Gomez, or I should say Ramirez, knocks it way back and left.
Long way on a cool night.
That would have been a home run back in the old days in this ballpark.
Here's Chris Davis now. Boy, what an inning this has turned out to be. Brewers hit back-to-back-to-back home runs here with 2 outs in the third. 6 runs are in. Bullpen is active for Detroit. The 9th batter of the inning. Gomez delivered the first run with a bunt single. And the floodgates have opened. Into center field, well hit. Long run for Ghost. He's got it. That's 420 out there. Fly balls go to die. The Brewers do some damage. First, Braun, 3-run homer, right field line. Next man up, Adam Lind, solo shot. Next man up, Aramis Ramirez, back to back to back. And the Brew Crew on top, 6-1 in the Motor City. By Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. A 6-run third, all 6 runs coming with 2 outs. And the Brewers go back to back to back for the first time since 2012. What an inning. 6-1 as we go to the Detroit half of the third. Ian Kinsler will lead off.
Yeah, 3 home runs on 3 different pitches. Braun hit a fastball, Lind a changeup, and Ramos with a hanging curveball.
Boy, Davis tattooed one to center field, but he hit it too much on a line. Ghost was able to run it down.
This is where Jimmy Nelson has to bow his neck and get the Tigers out 3 up, 3 down to keep that momentum on their side. Don't let them back. Don't give them anything.
Got the heart of the order coming up. Kinsler, Miguel Cabrera, JD Martinez. There's a strike. The last time the Brewers hit 3 consecutive home runs, August 27th, 2012. That was at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Braun, Ramirez, and Hart. In the late summer at Wrigley.
We're not doing this back here. Hey, that's it. That's enough. Right there, that's enough.
Now, home plate umpire Trip Gibson is barking at the Tigers dugout. And I'm sure that goes back to the last half inning for Anibal Sanchez. Feeling like he didn't get a few calls, specifically to Gerardo Parra, maybe.
It's not often you start barking after a ball's called when you're on offense.
Right. I'm sure Ian Kinsler saying, hey, keep it down, boys.
Right.
Now the Brewers are starting to show a glimmer of hope of the team that they thought they were going to have out of spring training. A great pitching performance last night, some timely hits. And they unload on the Tigers in the third. Inside ball 4. Right away, Nelson walks the first batter. It's a no-no.
Not the way you want to start the inning after your team puts a 6 spot up.
Well, Miguel Cabrera will bat with a man on in front of him. Leads us to our Carsoup.com trivia question. Prior to Cabrera, who was the last American League player to win back-to-back MVP awards? Good question. That one's deep. Right center field. Long run for Gomez, and he's got it for the out. Wow.
Yeah, it's frustrating for Cabrera. You can see his reaction after that ball was caught. Not only is it deep out there, but it's got the high wall out there in right center.
Said another month or so, that ball's going to be in the seats.
And just about any other ballpark, too. I mean, he squares this one up, and look how far Gomez has to go and able to haul it in with plenty of room left.
Well, about face. And that's got to be a little bit of a lesson for Jimmy Nelson on a night like this and a 5-run lead. Got to get in attack mode here. Martinez with a swing and a miss. Started him with a slider.
Try and keep the ball in the middle part of the ballpark. Stay away from either line, and you have a pretty good chance of keeping these guys in the ballpark. They haven't hit that many home runs yet this year.
Nice pick, throw to first. Kinsler just back. Maldonado did a great job to catch that pitch.
Second time he's picked one on the short hop.
That is an easy trip to second base for Kinsler if that gets by Maldonado. Instead, he almost got an out of it.
Always looking to throw to the bases. I mean, that's a slider that wasn't even close and almost picked him off.
On the ground, a hot one off the glove of Ramirez right to Sardinez, who makes the play. Wow, what a play that was. Heads up by Sardinez. Brewers fortunate that the bounce went right to the shortstop, but he fired a rocket over to first to get the out.
And fortunate that JD Martinez is running. He's not that fast. This ball hit very hard. And look at Sardinez. Knew right away he had to play at first base, and they got him by a step.
Nicely done.
Yep, saving a base hit and another base runner. They get the guy at first.
On the flip side, if Aramis comes up with it cleanly, that turns into a 5-4-3 double play most likely. It goes 5-6-3 for the out. 2 outs in the inning for Yoenis Cespedes, with Kinsler now at second base. This ballpark opened in 2000, Comerica Park, and they moved the fences in 2003. Fences from center field down to the left field foul pole. But where Cabrera hit his, with that high wall at 11.5 feet. It's a lot of ground they made up. That the old padded wall you see there used to be the regulation wall the first 4 years in existence, or first 3 years until they moved it in prior to the 03 season.
Man, that's a blast, isn't it? And Brewers playing in 2 ballparks on this road trip that they've had to move the fences in. Citi Field in New York and here.
It's funny, you build a ballpark, you're trying to tailor it for your pitchers, and to have a chance to sign free agent pitchers. The problem is that most teams realize, and the Padres are in the same boat, having just moved their fences in, it's hard to attract free agent hitters to these cavernous ballparks. In the air, left field, had good wood on it, but too much under it, and Davis will make the catch, and the inning is over. So after a leadoff walk, Jimmy Nelson puts up a 0 and a shutdown inning. We head to the 4th. Them coming with 2 outs in the inning. Our DraftKings players to watch. You can go to DraftKings.com, enter the promo code CREW. Some of the folks we've picked out tonight: Gerardo Parra, JD Martinez, who is on a 9-game hit streak. How about Bryce Harper, who homered again tonight, just recently? Can update that to 10 homers. And Brian Dozier has a homer as well. Bryce Harper, maybe the hottest hitter in the planet right now.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? Seems like he's hitting a home run just about every night.
Shot off the glove of Sanchez, and Sardinas is going to reach with a hit. Boy, that was wicked, right back through the box. It's been a rough night for Anibal Sanchez. Watch this.
And it has been a very good stretch for Luis Sardinas. I mean, he took that slider that hung up in the strike zone, and he rips it back through the middle. Boy, he looks like a much different hitter, much more confident. And that swing path to the baseball has been very consistent since he's been called up.
5 hits in his 4 games, making his 4th consecutive start. Sardinas can run a little too. He is a stolen base threat. Craig Counsell has made it a point that the Brewers are not going to be running and taking as many risks on the base paths under his reign. That was a philosophy that Doug Melvin, Ron Renicky put together and picking their spots to run, but the Brewers running into so many outs, and I think Counsell feels like they're going to be station to station for the most part, although there are a few players who still have the green light, guys like Segura and Carlos Gomez. I'll be curious to see how they treat Luis Sardinas here.
And Craig Counsell feels as though they need to use every out at the plate. They can't afford to be, wasting outs on the bases. When you're not scoring a lot of runs, you're not being consistent in getting runs. You've got to use every out that you get, all 27 outs, if you will, at home plate.
Hector Gomez had the big hit last inning that opened it up for Milwaukee. And a 1-out double. It was the first hit of the night against Anibal Sanchez. He would score on a Carlos Gomez bunt single. That came with 2 outs. And then the Brewers would score 5 more. Sardinius was on the move. And Hector is out by a step. 5-3 put out, 1 away for Sanchez and the Tigers in the 4th.
And I think Sardinius had that one stolen had Gomez not swung at it. Hey, Grammy-nominated country artist Joe Nichols will perform all of his biggest hits, including Sunny in 75, Give Me That Girl, and Yeah, in a free post-game concert following the Brewers-Diamondbacks game on Friday, May 29th. Go to Brewers.com for tickets. Brewers concert series. There's 3 of them this year.
Who else we got? OAR, I know.
Up in the Google Dolls.
Maldonado on the first pitch. Out to center field, Anthony Gose for the second out. And Sardinius will stay put. 2 outs. Back to the top of the order. Carlos Gomez. And he's been all smiles tonight. Gomez was the star last night. That was after his go-ahead RBI in the 7th inning. This was earlier today with the music playing in the ballpark. I'll tell you, man, he's just got the music in him at all times. He plays to a different beat, which is not a bad thing.
He loves being a big leaguer. He loves playing baseball. He appreciates every day. And I've never seen Gomez in a bad mood. I'm sure he's been in a bad mood, but he really doesn't show it.
We've seen quick bursts of anger.
Yeah, that's different than being in a bad mood.
Then I was shocked the other day. I don't know if you felt the same, but if there was ever a day where Gomez, where there was a lot of concern, he was hit in the head by a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and he thought this could be a very serious injury here, and he wanted to stay in the game. They took him out. Then he shows up on the airplane, and he's dancing and laughing, walking down the aisle. I was shocked. He said, "Hey, I'm fine." We asked him, "How you doing?" "Fine." He had a huge mark in the shape of the ear flap of his helmet on his cheek.
And he was lucky that that ball didn't hit him in the face. We've talked about that 100 times, but you think about that play, and it could have been a lot worse for him.
There are a lot of organizations that want to try to bottle up their players, kind of keep that briefcase mentality. That's been an old guard in baseball. I think that's changing somewhat, but that's not the way the game is played elsewhere. It's not the way the game is played in the Caribbean, Latin America, not the way the game is played in Japan. Everybody has their different nuances. A lot of folks here, and I know you're part of the old school guard too, and I think if you're upset at a bat flip, watch a Japanese game.
Right.
Those guys are the experts at bat flips after home runs. It's almost like part of the picture in a Japanese baseball game.
Well, it's just the way it is in the big leagues now. I mean, you have individuals that, show emotion. I mean, you have pitchers that go out there, they'll strike a guy out and go through the antics, and hitters do the same thing. You can do one of two things. You can be upset every day about that, or just accept it.
Right.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, you don't have to like it. It's okay.
Yeah,
Some guys don't like it or don't feel comfortable playing that way.
I don't really care anymore.
Right. I'm just sitting up here. Gomez down the left field line. That's down. A base hit that'll go to the wall. Coming in to score, Sardinius, and Carlos Gomez keeps it rolling. That's another 2-out run-producing hit. It is 7-1 Milwaukee. Gomez with 2 RBIs tonight, both coming with 2-out hits.
Yeah, and that's going to be it for Sanchez. I think Brad Ausmus has seen enough. After a very good start his last time out, he gets rocked here tonight on a fastball up and in. You can see where Holiday was setting up away. He missed the entire width of the plate, and Gomez with his 4th RBI in the series. So he's been red hot.
And Brad Ausmus will take the ball from his starter. Carlos chases Anibal Sanchez. We'll take a timeout and set up the new hurler after this. With 2 outs. 6 of the 7 hits for the Brewers have been extra base hits. And we continue on here in the 4th. New pitcher for the Tigers is Alex Wilson.
Yeah, we saw him in last night's ball game through a scoreless 9th inning for the Tigers. He's been pretty good out of that pen. You can see that earned run average at 184. 9th game, he's flipped up there 14 in the 3rd innings.
Another rough outing for Anibal Sanchez, who thought he had turned it around after his start against Minnesota, which was a win. And he went 8 innings, but he is chased with 2 outs in the 4th. Had a start earlier this year where he lasted just 3 1/3, gave up 9 earned runs to the White Sox. Parra lets it fly, and a swing and a miss. Caught a piece of the catcher on his follow through.
Yeah, Sanchez just didn't have as good command. I mean, leaving breaking balls up, change-ups up in the strike zone, and was very erratic with his fastball. And the Brewers jumped on him.
Parra at the plate, presented by Wendy's. A couple of walks. The walk in the 3rd inning was a key at bat, and one that frustrated Anibal Sanchez, who was trying to work the corners against Parra. Parra's not a guy that walks much, and yet walking in his first 2 plate appearances. And that 3rd inning walk set up the back-to-back-to-back homers. Braun, Lind, and Ramirez. The speedy Gomez at second in the dirt. Another good play back there by Holiday.
He moves around pretty well. He's got quick feet, able to keep pitches in front of him. I mean, tough pitches to block.
Got him. Parra strikes out to end the inning, but the Brewers score again, and they chase the Tigers starter. Gomez drives in his 2nd run of the night. Here in Detroit, at least so far, 7-1, a 6-run 3rd inning. As we head to the bottom of the 4th. Hey, a reminder tonight, Fox Sports Live will get you caught up on a full night of NHL and NBA playoff action, plus highlights of all MLB games tonight. You can see Fox Sports Live 10 p.m. on FS1 or see it simulcast right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Jimmy Nelson back to work. His offense has given him a lot of run support tonight. 7-1 Milwaukee with Nelson starting his 4th inning. Tyler Collins just arriving here from AAA as the Tigers put Victor Martinez on the DL. Collins had a little time in the big leagues earlier this year with Detroit. Down in AAA, he was hitting .248 with 9 RBIs in 32 games. Or in spring training, I should say, with the Tigers. He's been on their radar as an early call up if there was a need for a bat, and when Victor Martinez was sent to the DL after last night's game, he was the first guy up here. Last year, Collins played in 18 games with the Tigers, but spent most of the year in Toledo. .263 hitter last year. Big swing and a miss. And made his major league debut last year. He was actually on their opening day roster a season ago. 3-2 pitch, fouled away.
Jimmy keeps pouring in his strikes, 93, 94 miles an hour. We haven't seen him reach back yet. This is a good opportunity for Jimmy Nelson to establish himself tonight. The Brewers haven't given him a 6-run lead. Just needs to keep throwing strikes.
And he lost him. So another walk for Nelson. He has walked a batter in every inning tonight. His first walk in the first inning came around to score. But it's another leadoff walk. Back-to-back innings with leadoff walks. Tigers have had their leadoff hitter reach base in the last 3 innings.
A good way to get yourself out of a game with a big lead, to start walking guys.
That'll send Nick Castellanos to the plate. In there for a strike. A sweeping breaking ball from Nelson. He'll throw a couple of varieties of that slider. That's the one just to get a strike.
Yeah, something other than the fastball. It doesn't have to be a perfect pitch. There's something off speed to get over.
I hear pitchers and catchers talk about sometimes when you're struggling with your command a little bit, nothing like a good slider to get you back in your mechanics. How's that so?
Finishing your delivery. I mean, when you throw a good breaking ball, a lot of times a catcher will go out there and say, hey, let's spike a curveball here. And when you do that, you finish your delivery, you follow through nicely, and that's going to help all your pitches.
So much to the pitcher-catcher combination that goes into a successful start for a pitcher. That's one area Maldonado is advanced. He's got a good feel behind the plate. He and Lucroy both. Brewers are very happy with their catching core.
That's one of the reasons why Maldonado gets most of the playing time behind home plate. The fact that he does know this pitching staff very well. Even though he's not swinging the bat all that well, his catching's been pretty good.
Nelson coming in, got the pitch he wants. Ground ball, 6-4-3 double play. Jimmy put that right where he wanted. And it ate up Castellanos. Iglesias to Gomez to Lind.
Double play has been the Brewers' friend in this series so far. 4 of them now. It is about as room service a double play as it gets. Martinez jammed himself, and I should say Castellanos jammed himself, and that's about as easy as it gets.
It's a good sequence right there for Jimmy Nelson. We showed you on our Fox tracks the first 3 pitches to Castellanos were all away. Had some breaking balls in there, kind of got him thinking outside, and then he buries that heavy sinking fastball in on his hands.
A really effective pitch when he gets on top of it.
2 outs for Brian Holiday.
Not only does it ride in on a right-handed batter, it goes down in his zone, and that's how you get the ground balls.
Well, the Brewers are hoping Nelson takes that next step at the big league level. He's done all he can do in the minor leagues. He has been a dominant force in the minor leagues. Was the minor league pitcher of the year for the Brewers last season. and was also the Pacific Coast League Pitcher of the Year across all AAA in that PCL, their equivalent of the Cy Young Award. He went 10-2 in 17 games in AAA. 16 of those were starts. He won 10 games. He had a 1.46 ERA before he was promoted to the big leagues. Jimmy had 2 stints with the Brewers last year. Came up, he made a start in May, and then rejoined the team in early July, second week of July, and then he was with the ball club for the rest of the year.
Man, he's got that slider back that he had in the minor leagues. I mean, it was a long time in coming. Didn't really have it last year or in spring training. The curveball was the pitch for him early on this year, but because I think he really concentrated on the curveball and kind of left the slider alone for a while, he's got that back now. So essentially a 3-pitch pitcher now.
Another one in on the hands. Another good pitch at 94. And the Brewers put up another 0. Jimmy Nelson rolling along here, working on a 2-hitter. Brewers lead 7-1. The top of the 5th inning. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. That's easy tonight. 2 outs. Ryan Braun first. 3-run home run. That came in the 3rd. The next man up was Adam Lind. Sent one into the seats and right as well. Back-to-back homers, and they turned it into back-to-back-to-back with an Aramis Ramirez home run. Been 3 years since the Brewers have hit 3 in a row. And the Brew Crew scoring 6 runs with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Lead at 7-1.
Now that's Brewers baseball. That's what we remember. Hitting the long ball. Starting to hit him in bunches now, the Brew Crew.
Brewers able to chase starter Anibal Sanchez in the 4th inning. He goes 3 2/3 tonight, giving up 7 earned runs. Cause for concern for the Tigers, who start the day in 2nd place in the Central Division behind the Royals.
And Brewers now tied for 3rd in the league in home runs with 41. They've caught fire hitting the home runs.
After a very slow start in that category, Braun into center field. Gose is right there to make the play. 1 away. Here comes Adam Lind, and here comes Sophia.
Thanks, BA. Adam Lind, after hitting .333 in April, came into this game with just 2 for 24. But manager Craig Counsell said, you know, you're going to go through stretches like that during the season. But he said the keys for the good hitters are to shorten those bad stretches and lengthen the good ones like he was able to do in April. And he said that Lind has such a simple swing and a simple approach. He said he really admires the simplicity that Lind has in his approach at the plate. And he said it sounds like a strange statement, but he said it's not easy to keep it that simple at the plate. So Lind obviously turning things around here tonight with that home run.
Very calculated, measured, doesn't say much, and his swing's kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, he keeps the bat in the hitting zone for a long time, but I was specifically talking about Adam Lind with Darnell Coles before the ball game around the batting cage today, and he was talking about an adjustment that he's made. He started out the season, you know, with what he's doing right now, of course, the strike 3 call, but what he was doing lately when that bad stretch he was in, he was lifting that front foot up and moving a little bit too much toward home plate, basically cutting himself off and really not able to cover the outside part of the plate. Well, he's made that adjustment, and you would expect to get some more good at-bats out of Lind.
And you look at his reaction after a strikeout, just got a little shake of the head. You know, if you compare that to what his reaction was after the home run, very similar. As Ramirez flies out, that's a quick inning for Alex Wilson. The Brewers go in order in the 5th. We're headed to the home 5th. Brewers up 7-1. Is brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham. 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. Brewers are all business tonight. Brewers fans in the crowd loving this one on a cool night in Detroit. Temperatures in the low 50s. We're going to be heading into the 40s tonight, partner.
Yeah, I know it's cold.
I noticed you made your trip down to the clubhouse for a little extra gear.
I really didn't bring a whole lot of warm clothes for this trip. You know, I mean, that was a rookie move on my part, but didn't expect it to be. You know, what was it, 80 degrees at game time on yesterday?
Yeah.
Well, the front came in, blew everything out of here, and it was cold today. There you go.
Team colors.
I'm wearing my Brewers colors, which is
nice.
you know, kind of illegal in the Fox world. So
no logos.
Maybe you want to take it. Yeah, there you go.
I like that.
I got called on the carpet a couple of years ago.
Well, it's out of necessity tonight. Iglesias, little chopper toward the middle, going to be a tough play. Sardinas fires to first, and Lynn dropped the ball. Oh my goodness, that would have been a great play by Sardinas for an out, and right. Lynn just flat out dropped it.
Just clanked it. No reason for that. I mean, the tough part of the play was done. All Lynn had to do was catch it. Well, look at this play by Luis Sardinius. It shows his balance and the way he gets rid of the baseball. And would have had him if Adam Lind caught a perfect throw right over there at first base. Not sure how you miss it, but it's going to be an error on him.
Yeah, error on Lind. First of the game. Yeah, that kind of looked like Omar Vizquel right there. Well, got a chance to turn it here. Gomez, nope, he bobbled and will take the out at first.
Yeah, don't try and make something out of nothing. You have a 6-run lead. Get the shore out. That's a smart play right there by Hector Gomez.
Guys are playing hard. They're taking advantage of their opportunity. They've been fun to watch. Gomez, Elian Herrera, Luis Sardinius. Sardinius is a smooth cat, boy. He really knows how to play the position. He is so excited to be in this series with his idol across the way, Omar Vizquel. 22-year-old talent, Sardinius.
There was nobody better ever at the position than Omar Vizquel. I would imagine there were some just as good, but nobody really better.
Kenzo gets sawed off. Fly ball, long run, foul territory, and that'll bounce into the seats. Vizquel was, and he never looked like he tried hard. It was just so effortless for him. He was so smooth.
Always in good position. Got rid of the baseball quickly. You know, you always see him. You always saw him on the highlights making the spectacular plays, but he always made the routine play. Very rarely booted a routine ground ball. He turned outs into outs.
Well, and he had that little slide, on the backhand side, the little slide to a plant as Nelson strikes out Ian Kinsler, and he's looking to get tossed out here. Trip Gibson let him bark at him a little bit.
Yeah, surprising.
And out he goes. So after he's walking away, Gibson thought the better of it, and Kinsler is ejected from this game, which I think is what he wanted in the first place.
Yeah, it looked like it, didn't it? I mean, and Brad Osman is getting a free opportunity to tell Gibson what he thinks of his strike zone tonight. Remember, they were barking early, and that looked like it was a bit low, but Fox Tracks never lies. Sometimes the eyes are deceive you, but Fox Tracks gives you the scoop. It's where it crosses home plate where you see it on Fox Tracks and not where the catcher catches the baseball.
Now, Kinsler has walked twice in this game, and that's just some frustration for the way this game's going more than anything else. That's a debatable pitch either way, but he certainly didn't miss it. It won't show up on his grade that he missed it, let's put it that way. Kinsler has been ejected, and Ausmus will have to come up with another second baseman. Does Kinsler know he's been ejected? Because he's still in the dugout. Miguel Cabrera grounds to third base, and that will retire the side. Lind catches that with two hands. Well done. Casino presenting Brewers baseball tonight. You see Ian Kinsler still in the game, Rock, and apparently it was not Kinsler who was ejected. It was the manager, Brad Ausmus, who was tossed out.
Yeah, watch, he's going to say something to the home plate umpire about his strike zone, and that's who got thrown out. Ausmus had a something to say to the home plate umpire the last time Kinsler was at the plate. And this time he gets thrown out, arguing balls and strikes.
You know, I thought it was a bit unusual that he let Kinsler yell at him for a minute. And then as he's walking away, he would throw Kinsler out. But it turns out it was Ausmus. Now it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does.
So there you go. Brad Ausmus will watch the rest of this one from the clubhouse. Trip Gibson. I think he's doing a fantastic job behind the plate.
At least so far.
I mean, I've got no complaints about the home plate umpire tonight.
Yeah, you can see Al Albuquerque, basically a fastball slider pitcher. He's got a big earned run average, over 5.5. In his 16th game so far this year, Albuquerque in his 5th year with the Tigers. Had good numbers last year, 72 appearances, a 3-1 record, and a 251 earned run average.
Coming back from a severe arm injury 2 years ago that shut him down for the rest of the season. A lot of sliders from Albuquerque. He'll give you slider after slider.
Which is probably why he's had arm problems. That's a tough pitch on the arm.
And another one, swing and a miss. Al Albuquerque.
From the Dominican Republic.
Not from New Mexico, which would have been cool.
I was thinking about saying that, but I thought I'd be a little bit corny. I'm glad you said it.
Kind of like, you know, Hannah, Montana. And another slider strikes out Davis. You knew I'd take the bait.
Yeah.
You just teed me up so well, partner.
No, I was really ready to say not New Mexico, but I decided against it.
There's a little bit different spelling though on Albuquerque, by the way. There's a lot of letters in there.
There's no R in the real Albuquerque.
Right.
The second R.
Albuquerque. That had a hint of Farsi.
He's got a good arm, though. I mean, before he got hurt, he could get it up there in the mid 90s.
No doubt. Tigers have had trouble in their late relief. That's been the one area. Sardinius bounces to Cabrera, and there's out number 2.
Hey, next week the Brewers take on the defending World Series champs as Buster Posey and the Giants come to town for a 3-game set. Monday, May 25th through Wednesday, the 27th. Tickets start at just $9. Go to Brewers.com to reserve your spot at Miller Park today.
It'll be good to get back home. The Brewers still have a lot of work to do on the road. 5 more games after tonight. Gomez on the first pitch. Hector into center. And Al Albuquerque from the Dominican Republic has a 1-2-3 inning for the Tigers.
Potawatomi Hotel and Casino, the Brewers with a 7-1 lead here in the 6th. You can join Brewers pitcher Matt Garza and his teammates for the Brewers Bowl-a-thon on Sunday, July 19th. You can enjoy a VIP reception, silent auction, and of course bowling with the Brewers players while raising money for the Sojourner Family Peace Center, a safe haven for abused women and children. For more information, go to brewers.com/Beyond the Diamond, or you can call 414-902-4532.
Sophia, thanks. Here we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Jimmy Nelson still going strong. Jimmy has given up just 1 run. That came in the 1st inning. RBI single by J.D. Martinez, which came with 2 outs. And it is J.D. Martinez who starts the 6th. Tigers manager Brad Ausmus has been ejected. That will allow Gene Lamont, the bench coach, to run the team for now. There's Gene. Long-time baseball man there.
Yeah. Manager of the White Sox.
And Jim Leland's right-hand man for many years. Brewers scored 6 runs in the 3rd, and they all came with 2 outs. Back-to-back home runs in that inning. Braun, Lind, and Ramirez. Gomez also had an RBI. Carlos has driven in 2 tonight. Slow roller to Ramirez. 1 away. Ramos back at 3rd base tonight. He was the designated hitter last night. And his home run tonight, the 380th, check it, the 369th career home run. And that's significant because it is in the top 5 all time among Major League third basemen. He passed Craig Nettles for 5th place. He was tied with Nettles. Now he's in 5th all alone. Next on the list would be Adrian Beltre, who is still hitting home runs with the Texas Rangers. As a matter of fact, he just hit his 400th career home run, and 379 of those coming as a third baseman. Mike Schmidt is the leader in that category. It's a pretty impressive list, Rock.
Yeah.
Mike Schmidt, Eddie Matthews, Chipper Jones, Adrian Beltre, and then Aramis Ramirez.
Yeah, I tell you, Rami's numbers, his career numbers are extremely good. Rank up there amongst the all-time best.
Cespedes breaks his bat right to Sardinhas. In time for the out. 2 up, 2 down.
Yep, good slider that time, and good time to get to tonight's time of the game winner. Frank's Place 3 in Seymour, Wisconsin, if they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours. They get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern Lake of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. They're believers here at Comerica Park.
They're in the family.
They're believers, yep.
Yes. Well done. Here's Tyler Collins. Lets it fly on the first pitch. Nelson looking for a quick inning here in the 6th. He has faced 3 batters in an inning, but hasn't retired the side in order. In the 4th inning, he walked the leadoff hitter, immediately got a double play, and then retired the next hitter. What's interesting about his pitching tonight, he has not faced more than 5 batters in an inning. That was just once in the 2nd. Stranded 2 in that frame. And that's when it was a 1-0 Tiger lead. Brewers didn't score their runs till the 3rd. It's amazing how that happens more often than not. That was a beautiful curveball from Jimmy Nelson. Freezing Collins. 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout for Jimmy. brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. The Brew Crew and the Tigers tonight at Comerica. Brewers trying to make it back-to-back wins. 7-1 Milwaukee after a 6-run third. The most runs the Brewers have scored in an inning all season. And they all came with 2 outs. Matter of fact, all 7 runs have come with 2 outs. Maldonado is 0 for 2 tonight, leading off this 7th inning. Al Albuquerque starts his 2nd inning of work. Tigers have gotten some good work out of their bullpen. Alex Wilson went an inning and a third, retired 4 in a row. And Albuquerque retired the side in order last inning with a K. Brewers will wrap up this series tomorrow. A night game on a getaway day. Makes it a getaway night. Those make for some late night arrivals. And then the Brewers will have the Braves on Thursday night. That starts a 4-game series.
What else are you going to do on Thursday morning? Just hang out, right?
Yeah.
Get some rest.
No problem. Enjoy the scenery in Detroit.
That little town of Birmingham that we stay in is nice.
Outstanding. Highly recommend that area.
It's good ways from the ballpark, but it's worth the trip.
There's a bouncer to Kinsler. One away for the Brewers in the 7th. A reminder that Saturday, MLB on Fox Sports 1 continues. The Brew Crew will battle the Braves. That's on the air 2:30 Central, and then 6 p.m. it's the return of Baseball Night in America on Fox. Cardinals Royals renewing their in-state rivalry. Coverage begins 2:30 Central. On your home for baseball every Saturday, that's Fox and Fox Sports 1. I'll be doing that Brewers-Braves game with C.J. Nitkowski.
Okay. Got a number of our folks here in our production doing that game, right?
As Carlos Gomez singles. I don't really bother with the crew so much, Rock. So I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Mark Vittorio is going to be doing it. Isn't Brian Michalogic going to be your stats guy?
Well, he's known as the better option guy, and I think he's found a better option Saturday.
What would that be?
He's opted out. I'm not sure. He'll be visiting some museum somewhere, or going shopping.
No, good luck with that game.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Although I'm not real thrilled about having an off day on the road.
Well, you'll come up with something. There are lots of options in Atlanta.
On the road, just as soon work them.
You could take a trip down to your alma mater, Clemson. You could take a selfie with
trip up. You mean?
Or trip up, I'm saying. Yeah, that's a good point. Trip up to Clemson. Take a selfie with The Rock at the football stadium.
Yeah,
that would be fun for us. The Rock with The Rock.
You like that?
Is that where you got your nickname?
That was the beginning of it.
All the football players come by and rub your head when they walk down.
Yep. Like I was a little kid.
What's the name of that? I know they call it The Rock, but what's the story behind that?
I'm not sure.
Well, you're a Clemson guy.
I didn't do well in school there.
Oh, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I didn't know it was a class. I just thought it was kind of a.
It all started with Frank Howard. It's Frank Howard Field, one of the first coaches there. And
oh, okay.
That was kind of his thing. The Rock.
I see.
Let's see. It's been a few years since I've been at Clemson. I visited there a couple of times.
If only there were something like you could go online and search a topic that would tell you how something came about. Man,
we'll do it then.
That would be great. That would be great.
I think you should. I'm busy.
The Clemson tradition of The Rock.
I remember hanging out on the student section on the hill down there. I remembered most of the games.
There's a base hit by Parra. So Gomez and Parra with back-to-back singles. Please continue.
That's it. That's it.
That was the end of the story?
Yeah. They want us to get back to baseball here.
All right, hold that thought, because here comes Ryan Braun. And Ryan Braun is in our Powerball home run count. Belts a 3-run home run in the 3rd inning. His Powerball home run number 9 of the season. That leads the club. And now 26 runs batted in. Braun has had 3 home runs on this road trip.
Yeah. Got it going. He hits them in bunches ordinarily. Would you like me to look it up and you can do play-by-play?
No, I'm knee deep in it now. There's some interesting traditions there. I wonder if you know about it. Are you familiar with Lover's Lane?
Uh-huh. Heard about it.
As many of proposals have been made there. As Braun bounces one to third, slow roller. Castellanos makes the throw just in time, kind of lobbed it over to first base. And he gets Braun. Second out of the inning, both runners advance. 2 outs for Adam Lind. Howard's Rock, first placed on the pedestal atop the hill in 1966, according to the Clemson website.
So I was right.
What were you were right about Howard, the guy Howard.
Yeah, right. He started.
I didn't remember any other details other than that.
That was it. That's all I know.
So it became a tradition before a game against Wake Forest in 1967. If they gave 110%, then they could rub the rock. Well done. All right, well, looks like your off day in Atlanta is all set up.
Go to break. Goodness gracious.
Here at Comerica, Hall of Famers all. Well, Jimmy Nelson is in our shining moment, brought to you by Marshfield Clinic, and he has been on his game tonight. You know, he's had a few walks, had 4 walks each of the first 4 innings, issued walks, but he's able to pitch around some of those. Got a double play ball in the 4th inning, and he's coming off a 1-2-3 frame in the 6th, and Rocky has retired 6 in a row now.
He's really got good stuff. I mean, he's got all 3 of his pitches working for him. There's that first pitch curveball. Curveball, slider. You can see what he's done so far. The 4 walks haven't hurt him yet. One of those walks scored. That was in the 1st. But a stolen base and an error really was the reason that the run scored.
Castellanos leads off. He gets jammed again. That's been a theme tonight. And Ramirez takes care of him. Castellanos bounced into that double play in the 4th inning. And that power sinking fastball by Jimmy Nelson has
a lot of ground ball outs,
rattled a few bats. Jimmy won his first game of the year, April 11th against the Pirates. 7 shutout innings in that game, and he struck out 9. Happier days back then. And he's trying to win for the 2nd time tonight.
And he's really doing a nice job lately with first pitch strikes.
10 ground ball outs for Jimmy Nelson tonight to go along with his 4 strikeouts.
And 19 of 25. Mike Fiers did a nice job in that regard last night.
Another ground ball. Ramirez winds it up, and a low throw dug out by Lynn. 2 outs.
Hey, once again this season, the Brewers have teamed up with Summerfest to bring you the Rock the Ballpark ticket package for just $22. You get a ticket to the Brewers game and a general admission ticket to Summerfest. The first game is on Memorial Day. For details, go to brewers.com/Summerfest.
Rock the Ballpark.
Rock the Ballpark, not the Clemson Rock.
Or the Rock, the Bill Schroeder Rock. Or the wrestler turned actor. Or the Pirates broadcaster.
Or
I find it ironic that that promotion came up at that time.
Yeah, I think it's on purpose.
Brent Reeland producing tonight. Mark Vittorio directing. Brian Michalogic doing whatever he does.
I heard B. Mick's got a pretty good golf game these days.
Yeah, he's proud of it. It's quite the evolution of swing.
So I guess he stopped throwing his clubs?
Correct. I had a little Happy Gilmore in him for a long time.
You banned him for a couple of years.
Yeah, he's been on double secret probation for that. It's just it's a gentleman's game, Rock. But he's come around.
One of the greatest lines you've ever thrown out there was on the golf course, and it was regarding Brian when he got mad at himself on the golf course. And you remember what you told him?
What would I tell him?
You said, "You're not good enough to get mad."
Which is what I've heard my entire life about the game of baseball and most other sports.
All right.
There's a line shot right to Lind, and a quick one for Jimmy Nelson. 3 up, 3 down, 9 in a row. He's retired. We go to the 8th. In 7-1, the Brewers have the lead, a 6-run 3rd inning, and we're headed to the 8th inning. How about we take a look at what's happening down on the farm, courtesy of Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Nick Ramirez, who we've seen in spring training last couple of years. Last night against Jacksonville, he was 3 for 3, Had a home run, a double, and a couple of RBIs. Check it out. 9 straight games he's reached safely. He's putting up some gaudy numbers there. Way to go, Nick.
.452 batting average in that stretch as Blaine Hardy takes over. 14th appearance, a .377 earned run average. One of 2 left-handers down in that Tigers bullpen. You know, former Brewer Tom Gorzolani, the other.
And Ramirez leads off, takes a strike. Now the Brewers enjoying their time here in Detroit. So far, they won last night 3-2. And on the strength of a 6-run third inning, the Brewers have a 7-1 lead tonight. Tigers ran through the weekend in first place. They lost Sunday night to the Cardinals and had a late night arrival into Detroit. Now the Royals are sitting atop the standings. That division is going to be up for grabs this year. Figures to be a very good division. You know who's playing well in that division? The Minnesota Twins.
Yeah. The Twins in third place, 3 games back. They're 4 games over 500 coming into play today.
New manager Paul Molitor. We were talking to Wayne Kripke, who's a scout with the Twins. He's here scouting the series, and we asked him about Paul, how he's doing. He said he's doing great, pushing all the right buttons. That's great to hear.
Twins are swinging the bats. 4th in the American League in batting average.
Swing and a miss. Ramirez is down on strikes. You never come to Comerica or come to Detroit, watch a baseball game, and you don't think about Ernie Harwell, legendary Tiger broadcaster. He is missed sorely around here, but it's always fun to. We're actually in the Ernie Harwell press box, and his image and likeness. There are the Tigers radio announcers, Dan Dickerson and Jim Price. I notice you're crushing a homemade pie over there, courtesy of Mr. Price.
Yeah, see the way you put that? I mean, just think about it for a second.
I mean, most people go over for a slice of pie, and Jim's kind of got this thing, you know, where he has pie available, and so you go over to Jim's booth. There's Jim, great catcher. He was on the '68 Tiger team, and show everybody what you have, Rock.
They can't show me because I have a Brewers jacket on. I get in trouble for that.
You went over and got the whole box.
No, that's not true.
The whole pie.
There's 1 slice in there, and Jim just said, take the box. And we're not showing it because I have my Brewer jacket on.
Most people walk over, they get a slice on a little plate, on a fine piece of china, as Davis sends one to center field for the second out. And here comes Rock with the entire box.
Yeah.
But, you know, the pie situation is more than just Jim Price being a nice guy.
Right.
He does something really cool with these homemade pies that he offers to us. He has a donation box set up, and he's heavily involved in the autistic community and autistic research and development, and it's called Jack's Place.
Did you put money in there today?
I did.
When you crushed your piece of pie?
For my slice of pie, you had to empty out your entire per diem to get the whole box, so well done. So, good work, Jim Price.
Are you going to be picking on C.J. Nitkowski like this? I just wonder.
Depends on how the game goes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not picking on you. I'm proud of you.
Okay.
You can't just walk out of there with a couple of bucks donation with an entire pie.
I don't have an entire pie. You're on a roll tonight, partner. You all right?
Eat all we can. We sell the rest. Sardinius into left center field. That's hit deep and down all the way to the wall. And Sardinius thinking about third. He's on his way. That'll be a triple for Luis Sardinius. As a right-handed batter this time, he continues to swing the bat.
Yeah, he is. He looks a lot better than he did in spring training, and really swinging the bat with a lot of confidence. First triple of his career. And able to turn on that one. He's equally good from the left side and the right side, the switch hitter. And the fact that the Tigers have been playing him pretty shallow is why Cespedes is not able to get to it. Normally a ball that lands short of the warning track that had that much air under it, you're going to be able to catch, but they play him shallow. They might have to adjust that going forward.
Well, he is really putting on a show, making a name for himself in his first week as a Brewer. Been down in AAA Colorado Springs, got the call when Gene Segura went on the disabled list Friday.
Hitting .429. It's a pretty good start.
Yeah, not mean. 2 hits tonight for Sardinhas. And getting hits from both sides of the plate. He's at third with 2 away. Hector Gomez is swinging a miss. I was thinking about what Jim Price does for the autistic community here, and it reminds us to give a shout out to our good friends at Good Friend in Milwaukee, and covering Wisconsin. They do fantastic work. Encourage you to go online, goodfriend.com, and support that cause in Milwaukee in the autistic community. Great friends of the broadcast, and they are good friends. Inning is over. 7-1 Brewers. We're headed to the home 8th. Home 8th. Herrera will take over at third for Ramirez. That'll be the end of the night for Aramis. Jimmy Nelson's developing into a major story here tonight. The Brewers did give him some runs, scored 6 in the third, but Nelson is cruising right along here in the 8th inning, and a pitch count just shy of 100 right now. On the ground, Gose out to Sardinhas for out number 1.
Just doing a superb job of keeping the ball on the ground. That sinker's working for him, able to get on top of it. Just keeps pouring in the strikes.
That's 10 in a row retired by Nelson. And the only thing that broke that up was an error in the 5th inning to start it. So if you account for that, Nelson hasn't had a base runner by his own accord since the 4th inning. A leadoff walk to Tyler Collins, and then he immediately erased him with a 6-4-3 double play. Kinsler lines one left field, foul. Tigers have not had a hit since Collins singled to start the 2nd inning. Nelson's given up 2 singles tonight. And Cabrera is 0 for 3. Tigers scored first. They got a run in the first on a J.D. Martinez 2-out single. And The Brewers have scored 7 unanswered. Up and in to Kinsler. Looked like Kinsler might have been ejected after he was called out on strikes in the 5th. Instead, it was his manager, Brad Ausmus, that got ejected. Kinsler walked twice in his first 2 plate appearances and then got called out on a borderline pitch. It was right on the black.
And Chip Gibson gave Kinsler a little bit of leeway, but not the Tigers manager. You saw that pitch count by inning. Jimmy Nelson has 2 single-digit innings tonight. That's why that pitch count's in such good shape as we enter the 8th inning.
3 balls and a strike on Kinsler, and a ground to the 3rd. Herrera just into the game. Long throw is true. 2 outs. Nelson just continues to get the ground ball outs. I got him for 12 ground ball outs tonight. Miguel Cabrera with 2 away. He's in our Carsoup.com trivia tonight. Prior to Cabrera, who was the last American League player to win back-to-back MVP awards. Frank Thomas, the big hurt, the Hall of Famer. 93 and 94 with the White Sox. Cabrera swings to the first pitch and cues one into right field.
First hit since the 2nd inning. Well, 3 hits for the Tigers, all singles. They're playing him up the middle with Hector Gomez, and he just kind of slices one into the hole in there and gets himself a base hit.
Cabrera had a triple yesterday. Brewers won yesterday 3-2. Held Cabrera in check for the most part. Here's JD Martinez. Strike from Nelson.
Well, if you count double plays as a ground ball out, count them 2. That's 14 ground ball outs I've got.
I'd do it that way. He's got 4 strikeouts. Just had a good feel for the game. Whoa, inside, I got him. Clipped the jersey of JD Martinez. And now the Tigers with 2 on with 2 out. And decision time here for Counsell. It's not about effectiveness for Nelson. It's probably more about pitch count at this point. Blazek is getting loose. You know, they'd love to get Jimmy through this 8th.
I think they're going to let him. I think this might be his last hitter regardless. Be nice to get through 8 innings and do what Kyle Loesch did in the first game of that Mets series. Give that bullpen some time off.
And it is a cool night. Counsell is going to let it ride with Nelson. Got some runs to work with. 7-1. Maybe in a closer game, you make a move here, but see if Jimmy can get out of this. Here's Cespedes. 0 for 3 tonight. Boy, that's been a good pitch for him all night. First pitch, breaking ball, a little slider in there.
Especially this guy. He likes the fastball.
Nelson was off to a bit of a sluggish start, giving up 2 hits and 2 walks in the first 2 innings and a run. He threw 35 pitches combined in the first 2 innings, and then he streamlined it after that. And that started for Nelson in the bottom of the 3rd, which was the inning after the Brewers scored 6 runs. You had that shutdown inning in the home 3rd, and he's been on cruise control since. This is the first real threat for the Tigers.
They can jump back in the game very quickly, though.
0-2 the count on Yoenis Cespedes. And down he goes. Nelson strikes him out. A pump of the fist on his way out. What a performance by Nelson tonight against one of the best hitting teams in the big leagues. Nelson goes 8 innings, 3 hits, 5 punch outs, and only 1 on the board. Brewers with something to cheer about tonight under the lights of Comerica Park. 7-1 Milwaukee. And our presentation of Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, courtesy of Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. We invite you to book your stay now. Jimmy Nelson, Rock, 8 innings, just 1 earned run allowed, and he is 3 defensive outs away from his 2nd win of the year.
He's probably going to watch the last 3 outs from the bench, but what a performance for him. Looking like he could possibly break his 4-game losing streak. He's pitched well in his last 2 outings.
It would be his first win since his first start of the season against the Pirates. 7-1 Milwaukee. We're on our way to the 9th inning, and Maldonado leads off. Brewers have done some heavy hitting for Nelson tonight. Most of it condensed in that 3rd inning. Brewers batted around in the 3rd and scored 6 runs in the inning. Back-to-back-to-back homers. Maldonado, up to make the catch is Castellanos, a little snow cone.
Yeah, that's the way it's been going for Maldonado. He hit the ball deep his first time up. In the 3rd, they caught it. Maldonado, the only Brewer that has not reached base other than Chris Davis tonight. A little bit of bad luck that time. Right in the webbing and snow cones it does Castellanos for the first out.
Here is Gomez with 1 away. Carlos has had another big night. Jabba Chamberlain misses upstairs. Gomez with 3 hits, 2 ribbies. Has a stolen base tonight. Had an RBI double in the 4th. Drove in 2 last night. Starting to look like the all-star starter version of Carlos Gomez.
Yeah, starting to settle in. I mean, getting some consistent playing time. Craig Counsell talking about the fact that he's been in and out of lineup since the beginning of the season. DL time, he was out for a few days with another injury, but now more consistent playing time. Starting to smooth out that stroke. Like that.
Yeah, that was a smooth stroke right there. Right on cue. Sometimes you just got to take one for yourself, right, Carlos?
Yep. First 2 are for me, the last one's for the team.
2 balls, 1 strike on Gomez. Chamberlain delivers. Did he go? He did. 2-2 now. He has been right in the center of the action tonight. Brewers have 10 hits. Gomez with 3 of them. Had a bunt single to drive in the first run. He had a bunt single with a runner at 3rd and 2 outs in the 3rd inning. And then that's when the doors opened up wide for the Brew Crew. Down he goes. Chamberlain with a slider. Gomez strikes out.
And balloting for the 2015 MLB All-Star Game is now underway, and fans who vote 31 or more times and select the Brewers as their favorite club will be entered to win a Miller Park Suite package and meet and greet with Carlos Gomez. For details, visit brewers.com/vote.
Here's Gerardo Parra with 2 away. Parra has had a good night at the plate as well. Has a hit, 2 walks, scored a run in the 3rd. And Parra will shoot one through for a base hit. His 2nd hit, 2 walks, 2 singles tonight for Parra. Counsell wanted to get him in the lineup because he's swinging the bat so well. So he put Braun in the lineup as the designated hitter, getting Davis and Parra in the lineup together, and Parra continues to swing it.
Yep, hitting .319 after that base hit. He's starting in a lot of ball clubs. And he's certainly going to get a lot of playing time.
Here is Ryan Braun, who had the big swing of the game in the 3rd, a 3-run homer. Now Jimmy Nelson is done after 8, and there is the newcomer, Corey Knebel, the former Tiger, made his big league debut with the Tigers last year. The Brewers just called him up, and he'll be making his Brewers debut in the ninth.
You can almost see that jersey moving and his heart thumping out there in the bullpen.
Steady dose of sliders from Jabba Chamberlain, pitching in a setup role for the Tigers. Tigers are still without Joe Nathan, their closer. They got a lot of injuries to some big pieces. Nathan has an elbow injury. He's on the 60-day disabled list, and not being counted on anytime soon.
And they got Soria closing games here in Detroit. Not a bad option.
As a matter of fact, Soria came to the Tigers from the Rangers. Corey Knebel was one of the pieces that was involved in that deal. And then the Rangers flipped Knebel to the Brewers for Gallardo. So he's come full circle. He'll end up on a Comerica Park mound here shortly, where he made his big league debut. Look out. Braun almost took out Lind. An extremely late hack.
Man, Lind moved, but I think the ball was by him before he actually flinched.
I think you're right. Check out Lind, bottom right of your screen.
Let's see when he moves. Ball's by him.
You're right. Wow. Good thing he was watching. That reminds me of a Nori Aoki foul ball from the other side. They put the on-deck circle in those particular spots because that is the safest possible place for someone to stand with a batter at the plate.
And you hardly ever see a foul ball over there, except for tonight.
3-2 pitch. Braun in the center field, hit well, long run for Ghost, and it is over his head. Parra, who is running with the pitch, will score easily, and Ryan Braun with an RBI double. The Brewers are on top 8-1.
Yep, and 4 RBIs now for Braun. Nice, that's leverage that he creates. That big long bat, he just drops the head of it, and ball just whistles over the head of Ghost in center. A 3-2 pitch, a hanging breaking pitch, and well, that's just right in the wheelhouse of Ryan Braun. Left that one up in the strike zone, and another 2-out run for the Brewers. It's kind of been the story of the night.
And another 2-out RBI that sends a pitcher into a fury on the mound. Those are backbreakers for pitchers, regardless of the score. He gets the first 2 out. And now Adam Lind with a base hit. Here comes Braun. He'll try to score. Ghost has a good arm to throw it right on the money and out at the plate. Wow, what a throw that was. So Braun cut down. Anthony Ghost with an outfield assist. A perfect strike from center field to end the ninth. 8-1 Brew Crew. Bottom of the ninth coming. Corey Knebel about ready to make his Brewers debut. Miller Lite, what's on tap? Kyle Loesch tomorrow, coming off a gem against the Mets on Friday. He'll match up against Shane Green. So our Miller Lite, what's on tap pitching matchup tomorrow, 5:30 airtime. First pitch just after 6 o'clock in the Central Time Zone. Well, we've had a couple of Brewers debuts on this road trip. We saw Sardinius on Saturday, and here is Corey Knebel. Got to be a thrill for him to get back on this mound where he first made his big league debut last year.
Yeah, no doubt. He was throwing the baseball pretty well down in AAA Colorado Springs at 470 earned run average. Really because of 2 blow-up outings. He gave up a 3-run home run in one outing, 3 runs in another, but other than that, he was very good. A hard throw with a good curveball, according to Rick Sweet, his AAA manager.
Knebel, 2 of the 3 players the Brewers acquired in the Gallardo deal. He's got plenty on his fastball. He'll sit in the mid-90s consistently. We saw a little bit of him in spring training. He's got an excellent curveball as well. Knebel is a native Texan. He's actually from my hometown in Texas, Georgetown, Texas, just outside Austin. Played his college ball at the University of Texas.
A big kid with a relatively smooth delivery. Looks effortless. It just threw that one in there at 95 miles an hour. A AAA closer.
And right by Tyler Collins, 95 with the fastball, and 1 away. Another strikeout for the Brewer pitchers tonight. Last year, this was Knebel as a Detroit Tiger. Give you a look at some of his repertoire.
Most of these strikeouts you're going to see are with a curveball. He just blew a fastball right by Collins. You see that is a good pitch. There's a fastball. He's got a good one.
Castellanos in the right. Easy enough for Parra. 2 outs. Now, right now, the Brewers are carrying 8 relievers. That will probably change once they get back into a National League setting. It's hard to have a 4-man bench when you have pitchers hitting in National League lineups. There's a lot more changes that need to be made. Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, getting his first look at a big league setting at Knebel.
You like the velocity that this kid can bring to the table. Can't have enough hard throwers out of your bullpen. Makes up for a lot of location problems when you throw that hard.
I think one thing the Brewers like about Knebel, he's a fun-loving guy, easygoing guy. But he is used to late inning, high leverage situations. He was a closer in college, and a great program in Austin, closing in the minor leagues as well. In the left, Davis on the run, and Holiday is retired, and that's a ball game. Great debut for Corey Knebel. Welcome to Milwaukee. And the Brewers cap off at him.